Did that capture your attention? At least a little bit? If not, then I'm not doing my job. For this book, Presenting to Win by Jerry Weissman. This book offers some tips on how to create an impactful presentation, from capturing your audience's attention to communicating with them verbally and visually, as well as customizing your presentation to keep them engaged and interested. I'm going to go over a few concepts with you, including WIFI, how to avoid the Mago syndrome, and how to create an impactful visual aid. So, let's do it. So, WIFI. What is that? I was confused too, but it's actually pretty simple. WIFI stands for what's in it for you, and not you, the presenter, you, the audience. The audience has to have a benefit. They have to have a reason for listening to your presentation. And if they don't know what that is, they're not going to be engaged in the presentation. They need to know why they're going to benefit, what they're going to get out of it, and why they should even care. So, always make sure that you have a WIFI in your presentation. Mago syndrome. What's that? Well, have you ever been in a presentation where they give you so much information that you're not sure what's relevant, or what the purpose is, or what the information itself is? This is called a data dump. And a lot of presenters do this to convince the audience that they really know what they're talking about, or to persuade them into something by giving all the dirty details, all the facts, and everything that they can possibly throw at them, everything that they know they're giving to the audience. Well, this causes the Mago syndrome, which stands for mine eyes glaze over. If the audience is presented with too much information and they can't connect why it's important or why it's relevant to them or how they're going to benefit from this information, then their brain's going to overheat. Their eyes are going to glaze over and you're going to lose them. You never want a data dump on your audience. You don't want them to suffer from Mago syndrome, because once you lose them and once they disconnect from you, it's going to be really difficult to re-engage them and be able to deliver a successful presentation and have them buy into what you're presenting to them. So always be mindful of the Mago syndrome. Did I lose you? I hope not. But unfortunately, a lot of presenters will lose their audience if they have a visual aid that looks like that. It was distracting. There was a lot of words and some random colors, and if I had been saying anything, you wouldn't have been listening. You would have been trying to read what was on the screen and relate it to what I had already said and what I was going to say next. Then you try to figure out why I used the colors that I did. Were they important? Did they have meaning? Or were they just for fun? While you were trying to process that information, anything that I had been saying would have been lost, and I wouldn't be engaging you. And if I lose the engagement, then I'm not going to be able to bring you back in. So we need to make sure that we avoid visual aids like that are so distracting and that they don't feed into our presentation. They don't assist it, they detract from it. So let's clean that slide up. Do you see how much better that slide was? was a lot easier for your brain to process. You don't have to use the entire space on the presentation. Use your white space or the blank space around your information and let it work for you. It was much easier for the audience to read that. Keep your bullets consistent and concise and on one line. This avoids eye sweeps in the audience so they can still listen to you while they're reading what's on the screen. It's important that they stay engaged and they know what you're saying. A good slide doesn't have to have a lot of information, it just has to complement what you're saying. And when you're creating the slide, preview it, like I did, so that you can see it the way your audience is going to see it, and go over it, rehearse it, practice, and make sure that you know what you're going to say and how that slide is going to complement you. Otherwise, your presentation is going to fail, and the audience won't be engaged, they won't be involved, and they won't buy into what you're presenting to them. This is really important. Make sure your visual aids are adding to your presentation and not detracting from it. In no way did I cover all of the information that's presented in this book, so I strongly encourage you to read it for yourself. However, if you take anything away from this, remember, always make sure that there's a WIFI for your audience. Make sure they know why they have a benefit. Avoid the Mago syndrome. Don't data dump on them. Don't let their eyes glaze over, because you'll lose them. And make sure that your visual aids are complementing what you have to say. If your audience isn't engaged in actively listening to you, if they're not interested, and if they don't have a benefit, they're not going to take anything away from your presentation, and it will have been a waste of your time and theirs. So, get this book, read it, and create an effective presentation so that you can deliver and get what you need from your audience.